All right, I think this is part 6, I believe. Continuation of my story. Last left off, first job I ever had. Well, the first uh, official job I ever had. um, so anyway, if I skip something, we'll just have to go back, like I've been doing. I think I did skip something earlier. I'll go into that here short. I'll go into that at another point. Um, that might be a video of its own. Probably should be. Anyway, um, so yeah, I was working this job full time. Um, During that time, first year of it, I started working on saving my money, putting back money to buy my first car, and whatever else. Basically, at this point, I was still living with mom and daddy. Yet, at the time, I'm not paying any bills. I'm just saving back for my car at the moment. And what I done was finally came up with I kept checking the newspapers for cars. I wasn't gonna buy nothing real fancy or nothing like that. It was gonna be something simple. First car. You know, you don't need. You don't need a bunch. And I didn't ask my parents to help out. My parents didn't offer to help out because, well, Daddy just couldn't afford it. Even even though that was a trend, help your kid buy his first car, or help your kid buy their first car, or buy it for them as a birthday or Christmas gift. Give them what you didn't have in life. No, that's spoiling your kid. Help them learn. Let them learn the value of a dollar. Let them earn that car. They'll appreciate it more and they'll respect it more. They'll take care of it more. I don't agree going out and buying your kid this and that because they say they want it. I'm not in the business to buy you everything you want. That's not my job. My job is job is to supply you with everything that you need. A car's not a need, it's a convenient want. You can travel just as easily with a bicycle. Take a cab, Uber, but well, we didn't have Uber back then. Cab, bus, bike, bicycle, uh, skateboard, roller skates, uh, Mutt and Jeff. In case you don't know what Mutt and Jeff is, that's your 2 feet. So there you go. Moped that you still should buy for yourself. Anyway, so I saved up for a car. Daddy went with me. I found a car that I want. I found a car I was interested in. Well, finally, after we were car shopping all over on a Saturday. Um, I don't know how many Saturdays it took. I don't remember, or if it was just one. I think as I already had identified the cars that I was looking for, based on the money I had available and how soon I wanted to make a move. And then I talked to him about it. We went and looked. Found this car. It was a Pontiac T1000 two-door automatic. Basically, Pontiac's version of a Chevy Chevette. So got the car. Daddy drove it home. Mama went with us because somebody had to, bring me home. Daddy drove, we went out, Mama went with us anyway. Daddy drove it home. Um, and then that's when we looked over, we looked it all over before we got it anyway. And Daddy gave approval of it. Knew it was going to have some work, different things because it was older. From that point forth, I gave AutoZone a lot of business back then because they were the closest parts store uh, in Rossville. Went in there buying tools, buying parts, you name it. I don't remember how much money I put into that car. I know by the time by the time I got done, I put more into the car than what it was worth. But it was my first car. I wanted to make it road ready because I wanted to travel with it. I wanted to go visit family and friends with it on the weekends. So, got it ready. Then one Saturday I called the Georgia State Patrol office in Lafayette, in Lafayette, Georgia, because that's where you always went and took your driver's test at the patrol barracks. And I asked them, they had a law that was coming out. I think it was called the Joshua Law, fixing to come out. And it was for kids that had teenagers that had dropped out of school. If you dropped out of school, you wouldn't be allowed to get your get your driver's license without your education, without your high school diploma, unless you had a GED. And so I called him. I said, is this law? What's the deal with this law? I want to come in and take my driving test, but I want to know where I stand. They said, sir, that law has just passed. It's not even in effect. So at this point right now, we're not even concerned about it at this point. I said, okay. So if I come down there today and take my test and pass, I can get issued my license. He said, if you take the test today, if you came down here today and took the test and passed it, yes, by law, I have to issue your driver's license. I'll see you shortly. Right before that, I had Mama take me to the nearest GED night school. Went in there and talked to the teacher. Excuse me, my Bluetooth's coming out. Talked to the teacher about the law to start with before I confirmed it with the Georgia State Patrol. And I said, can you write me something saying that I'm attending this class so I can go get my license this weekend? He said, well, I'll tell you what. He said, I had another kid did the same thing, and he fooled me, and he didn't ever show up. He said, why don't you come in for like 2 or 3 months and prove yourself, and then I'll consider it. I said, no, I don't have time for all that. You can either write it now and be willing to trust me, or I'll just have to prove you wrong regardless. Well, I'm not writing it for you. I said, bye. I said, I'll see you later. Under different terms, but bye. And this is before I even made the phone call. So, Mom and Daddy got back from the grocery store that Saturday, and I said, looked at Daddy, I said, I need you to take me to Lafayette. I want to go take my driving test. He said, when? I said, right now. He said, are they even open? I said, yes. Mom was like, you going to be able to pass it? I said, we'll see. Let's go do it. You don't know until you try. So we went down there, walked in, got all the paperwork started and everything, went and took the test. Now, mind you, We just moved here. I've never been to Lafayette, don't know nothing about Lafayette, Georgia. The instructor has me get on the road. We start driving. She says, I'm going to want you to turn left on so-and-so street or so-and-so road, whatever it was. And I said, ma'am, we just moved here recently, and I don't even live in Lafayette. I live in Rossville. I don't know this territory. You're going to have to let me know when that turn's coming up so I don't miss it and get a mark. She says, okay, I'll do that. She wasn't paying attention. Almost had me miss the turn. Oh, here it is right here. Here it is right here. Whoa, it's right there. Sorry about that. So I did it perfectly. I did an emergency stop and everything perfectly into the turn lane. I had my turn signal. Didn't cause no ruckus, didn't cause no accident, no incident, no nothing. Couldn't have done it any smoother. Made the turn. Did everything else. Went to go do parallel parking. Now, prior to the test, I actually could do parallel parking. I could do parallel parking now. I don't do it that often. But my grandfather taught me how to parallel park. And I learned right off the bat. I could do driver's side and passenger side parallel. No problem. Taught me one morning while I was down there visiting for summer. We went out early one morning. Took me to an obstacle course at their local high school in Warner Robins. No big deal. Come to go take the test. I couldn't fucking parallel park to save my life. Excuse my language. I sucked. I didn't fail though. She said I passed. She said you didn't get the parallel parking, and she said I had to mark you down because you didn't take points off because of parallel parking, and also because of that turn you almost missed earlier. I said, whoa, wait a minute, ma'am. I said, I didn't almost miss that turn. I said, you almost missed me making that turn because you were supposed to let me know when we got to the turn. I said, I told you I'm not from around here. You can't dock me for that. Well, I only took off half the points off for that one. I was like, well, that's still not right. She said, well, you still passed. I said, are you trying to justify your wrongdoings in this? She just kind of looked at me. She says, look, you passed, okay? Be happy. I was like, I'm happy, but I don't feel treated fair. I really don't feel that was, very fair. I mean, yeah, you did pass me because it was mainly your fault. I mean, I don't see how you could have knocked points off of it because it wasn't my fault. But whatever. Welcome to Georgia State Patrol. Officer. That was my first little altercation with an officer who's an instructor who didn't want to take blame for her wrongdoing. She was trying to cover it by saying, well, you missed it. I took some points off, but I passed you because it was my fault, even though I'm still going to dock points. I'm going to go ahead and pass you because my bad. She was admitting without actually admitting. If that makes any sense. So anyway, walk in. Mama looks at me. She says, well, what? She said, well, she says, what happened? I said, I passed. Dude just kind of smirked. I think he was already expecting it. He already knew. He knew what I was doing the entire time. I was proving everybody wrong except for him. Because Daddy knew I was just like him. Don't tell me I can't do something. I'll show you otherwise. So, got that done, got home. got the car legal. Um, and I just, started driving. Come that Monday, I think I had already done went ahead and got the insurance and tag for the car. I think I had already done gotten it registered before I went down there to the test. I think I went ahead and got it registered and got insurance on it prior to that. Well, I don't know. I couldn't have because I would have had to have had my driver's license. So anyway, I did what I needed to do, and then it was time to show somebody else up. Excuse me for a second. Let me get my water. So then I went back down to the GED class. Walked in to become a student. Teacher looked at me. I said, "Hey, I thought you should know something." He said, "What's that?" I said, You see something?" I said, "That's a car. That's my car out there." He says, "Okay." I said, "Maybe you'll be a little bit more trusting and or at least give somebody the benefit of the doubt until they give you a reason not to." He said, "Oh, did you get your license?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "No thanks to you." I said, "Guess what? I showed up. If I didn't have the intention, I wouldn't be here tonight. But I have all intention to get my education. Finish it." He kind of had to, eat some crow. Kind of had to swallow his words. So anyway, went to night class. I don't know if I even went every day. I might have just so that way I could try to hurry up and get it done. Meantime, well, I was had a girl at the time. I had a girlfriend for a few. Had a girlfriend, a long distance relationship for a few years. She lived out near Savannah, Georgia. So that was one of the people I was going to go visit. And long story short, got a visit out of that, and we went on a date, and because I wasn't getting closer to her as quick as she wanted, as far as distance goes, she broke up with me, which was fine because there was a girl in the GED class that caught my eye. She had a boyfriend. Well, I respect those. I show respect for those type of situations. If I'm with somebody already, I'm not gonna go behind their back on them. And if a girl is with another guy already, I'm not gonna convince them to go behind their back. I'm gonna be respectful of that relationship, just like anybody else should be. The way I feel about it. I don't cheat. It's not right. If you cheat, you can't be trusted. If you are unhappy, leave. Then go find somebody. But if you're unhappy, cheating's not going to be the resolution. It's going to cause more problems. I knew that from, well, what my dad done. So, anyway, she broke up with me. That other girl did. And then we come back from Christmas break. Found out that that girl in class, her boyfriend, broke up with her and moved back to another town. Well, you know what I was thinking. It's time. So one thing led to another, and we started dating. Asked her out. We started dating. And then other things led to another. And A couple years later, year and a half later, we got married. And we've been married for 24 years. 25 in September. I'll go on to that here. I'm just wanting to kind of advance up real quick on that. Throw that out there to do away with suspense. Anyway, so yeah, we were dating and stuff, and those couple years, I went through different jobs. Well, actually, no, I did not. I did not. Uh, I stayed with that first job I ever had for over 3 years. I think it was like 3.5 years. Wasn't for a lack of not trying to look for another job, because I was unhappy. The pay wasn't there. I was mentally abused. The supervisor, he was an asshole. He was an arrogant asshole. He was a bully. Nothing was ever his fault, even when I pointed out. Or he'd get, hey, did you do this? I'd say, that's not my handwriting. Well, that's my handwriting. Yeah. Well, why did you let me do this? You're an adult. Anyway, they got bought out by a company out of Dalton that wanted them to do the same thing for them and for their Dalton customers. I went to work with Daddy at Mercedes. When he got that job at Mercedes, I went to work with him because they wanted him to do more repair. They wanted him to get involved in other stuff for the Mercedes cars, not just alignments. Daddy had kind of back up for a second. After a while, Daddy having that manager's job at Long Hyundai, Pontiac Hyundai, he got tired of Nelson Long's politics. Nelson wouldn't let him take care of customers as they should have been. He let politics get in the way because it was hurting his pocketbook. Even though it was bringing customers in, he thought it was still hurting his pocketbook. So one day as a manager, Daddy and some of the other managers were walking around, taking a look at how the new dealership's coming up. And it was brought, somebody asked, well, do you have an alignment technician yet? And the manager said, no. Daddy said, for the right amount of money, I'd do it. Next morning, gets a phone call from the region manager, says, did you mean that? Mean what? What are you talking about? When they asked about the alignment technician, and you said for the right amount of money you'd do it, he said, yeah, for the right amount of money I would do it. I thought you liked being a manager. I thought you liked the perks. He said, I'm tired of the damn politics. He said, I'm ready to step. He said, well, we're going to have to step you down as back into a service tech first. He said, that's fine. So that's what they done. They brought this other guy. He's an idiot. Brought him in. Eventually they got ready to, for Daddy. Daddy asked me to take a day off to help him tear apart his alignment machine and help him move the major parts over there because he couldn't find nobody else to help him. He says, how much do you make a day? How much do you make an hour where you're at? And I told him. So how much is that a day? And I told him. He says, I'll pay. And he actually added to it, so I'll pay you this much if you'll take the day off. If you'll make arrangements to take the day off and help me. And that's what I did. And then Daddy was working over there for a little while. I went over to work with him later, and spent 3 months, wasn't making any money. The reason I say that is because they pay you by the hour. Any service company will pay you by the hour, or any repair shop, any service company, whether it's heating and air, pretty much whatever. Some are a little different than others, but a lot of them, they pay you an hourly rate, but you only make how much time that job calls for in their book. So if it only calls for an hour, you're only going to get an hour. If it calls for only a half an hour, you're only going to get a half hour. If it calls for 3 hours, you're only going to get 3 hours. I'm saying only going to get because job calls for an hour and it takes you 2 hours, you just lost an hour. You break that down, you can break it down into quarters. You just lost a quarter of your pay because you don't get paid for that extra hour that it took you. Same if it's a 2-hour job, if it only called for 2 hours and you only get say if it calls for 3 hours and you take 6, takes you 6, you're only getting paid 3. And if you got the right tool for the job, and if you maybe have done it before, still could take you longer. Anyway, I was working there, wasn't making no money. We were newly married, trying to save up money to get our own place. We were living with Mom and Dad at the time, and got married at a little church in Chickamauga called Garrett's Chapel. Preacher that married us was Tim Whitfield. He's with the Lord now. Family going on without him. But and then I asked about getting my old job back. Well, they didn't have the counter position available, but the guy needed another driver, so I took that. Did that for a little while. Was promised a raise, never got it. Jimmy Newton, if you ever see this, you're a piece of shit. Anybody that wears their Christianity on their sleeves, you better get out your truth meter. I forgive you, but it ain't me that you got to worry about forgiving you. Forgiveness comes from God. Me, you need to apologize to. Regardless. What I mean by all that is anybody he hired in, he'd promise them a raise in 90 days. 50-cent raise. And it come time to collect and ask for it, there's all kinds of excuses. I can barely, keep the lights on. That's your problem. You made a promise. You're supposed to be a Christian, man of your word. Later on, I confronted him about it years later. Well, you did this and you did that. I said, yeah, but you didn't know that was going to happen. Nobody knew that was going to happen. You still were obligated. You just don't care. He was a greedy man. Very greedy man. He might have gave to this or gave to that, this and that charity or whatever, and filled the tithing tray, filled the tithing tray up, heaping over at the church. But what's that got to do with your man of your word? God still sees your heart. Anyway. So yeah, I went to work there for about 9 months, and then ran into Tim Whitfield. Well, I didn't run into him, but called him up. Still kept in contact with him after the wedding and everything, and went over and talked. Asked him about a job. He did drywall finishing. He owned a drywall company that he took over from his uncle. And and I went to work doing that, and there was good and bad from that. Um, Bad part was it was a 1099, and I got screwed in the end for taxes. Good part is the only good part is that was when me and Dessa come to know the Lord through Tim. Now we'll discuss more later. Kids just got home. Take care. Be safe. I might try to do another one later this evening. If not, it will be try to do it over the weekend. But I might try to do it this evening. Anyway, y'all take care. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.